I want to offer some advice to the Phoenix Suns for this offseason. Not to say that they will take said advice, but we know that there's about to be a lot of change for the Phoenix Suns as an organization. We know already that there will be a new coach. At some point this week, all signs are pointing to us learning what is going to happen, if anything is going to happen. Now, the expectation is that there's going to be changes in the front office. Those could come down as early as this week. We know that in theory, Kevin Durant could be on the move, and this roster is going to look a lot different. It's going to have a new identity. It's going to be a different group. And I want to offer some advice up to the Phoenix Suns for this offseason because they're undertaking a very large project. How large of a project? Chris Haynes over the weekend did his Haynes Brief YouTube show, and he focused a lot on the Phoenix Suns. Now, I want to bring some of this sound to you throughout the course of the day. I think it's telling. I think it paints a really nice picture of what this offseason is going to look like. And here's just one cut of Chris Haynes talking about what the Suns are going to try to accomplish this offseason.
One thing that I do know, one thing that I was told is that the Suns want to transition. They want to move away from the model that they've been going after for the previous 2 years of accumulating star talent, star players, and then trying to see if it can mesh on the court. They want to move away from that, and they are going to move away from that. So the purpose right now and the goal moving into next season is to accumulate defensive-minded, tough players. They want to play a defensive-minded, grind it out type of a game. They want to have a product on a court that fans can appreciate because you go into, I read the comments. I see what Suns fans are saying about their teams after games. And, you can make the case that this team probably quit on Budenholzer early on in the season.
So that's what they're going to try to accomplish. Talked about identity last week, grit, determination. You heard some of it there from Chris Haynes of the work that they are going to try to do, what they are going to try to accomplish. Okay. Now the real work starts. And the real work is in who you get as your next head coach. The real work is in what you get back for Kevin Durant. The real work is what changes you make to the front office. The real work is seeing the players you go out and covet in free agency, the players that you go out and covet in the draft that fit this identity. The proof is going to be in the pudding here. The proof is going to be in the actions. And so that's where I want to offer some advice up to the Phoenix Suns, because I was thinking about this over the weekend, and there's a quote that I have always thought of in life that I've applied to me personally. And it's not attributed to anybody in particular, but the quote is, "Work hard in silence, let your success be the noise," end quote. Why is that the quote and the advice that I want to offer to the Phoenix Suns? We don't want to hear from you anymore. We don't want to hear about all of the things that you're going to do, because they're just words and they're just empty promises until you deliver on the promises. You promised that this group was going to win a championship. You promised that 26 of the 29 other teams in the NBA would trade places with the Phoenix Suns at the end of last year. We don't want to hear about what you're going to do. We don't want to hear about your plan. We don't want to hear about what went wrong anymore. We don't want to hear about how things can be different. We want to see things be different. And it's hard. It is hard to work hard in silence, like the quote says. It is hard to not respond to every little thing that is going to be thrown the Phoenix Suns' way this season. If you think, and this is the only time I'm going to address this here on the program, if you think that what Stephen A. Smith said about Matt Ishbia and the Phoenix Suns is the last time people are going to talk about the Phoenix Suns this offseason, good, bad, indifferent, you're wrong. It's just the beginning. It is the tip of the iceberg. They are going to be a conversation when teams get eliminated from the postseason. They are going to be a conversation once they hire a new head coach. They are going to be a conversation after that coach has his introductory press conference. If they make any moves in the front office, there'll be a conversation this week. And it is tough for this to be the thing you stand on, but you can't react to any of it.
I really don't know if there's another team that has a more interesting offseason, given how the playoffs might shake out. But I don't know if there's a team that will have a more covered, more interesting postseason than the Phoenix Suns.
And if you are anybody in charge over there, if you're Matt Ishbia, if you're Josh Bartelstein, if you're James Jones, if you're whoever else is brought into that front office, if you're the next head coach, whatever the case may be, you have to block out all of the nonsense. And you need to keep your head down and you need to work in silence. And then when it all comes together, when it's all working a year, 2 years down the road, you don't need to say anything. You just point to the basketball floor and you allow the hard work that you have done this summer to speak for itself. And that's hard to do. It is hard to be quiet and not respond to what Stephen A. Smith said. And Matt Ishbia, I think, handled it about as well as he could have by responding, but not really responding. You don't want to get into this back and forth when your team has been this much of a disappointment, this much of a failure. You got to take your lumps. You have to take the L. You have to accept the criticism that's going to come your way because, by the way, it's warranted. And you just need to keep your head down and do good, solid work. Because honestly, nothing good is going to come out of the Phoenix Suns responding to everything. Nothing good is going to come out of Matt Ishbia responding to every criticism that gets levied towards him. Instead, that's only going to make the problem worse. All this team should be focusing on is being better than they were last year, taking those steps in the right direction of being a better organization, top down, being a better organization in player acquisition, being a better organization in the way they identify players, having that identity be seen in who they bring in who they bring in as a coach, who they bring in as players in the draft, who they go out and get in free agency, what they try to prioritize in a Kevin Durant trade. That is where you can speak. You can speak through your actions instead of speaking through your words. Because let's face it, we're kind of tired of hearing from you. You are going to be called all sorts of names. You're going to improperly be called one of the worst owners in NBA history. That's going to happen. You're going to have somebody in the media make a dumb comment like that. You need to keep your head down, be above the fray, and work hard. Because the only thing that's going to come from responding to all of that, the only thing that's going to come from litigating this in the public square, in the back and forth with comments and leaks to reporters and all this stuff, is more criticism for you. Be quiet. Take all the hits. Take all the arrows that are going to get thrown your way. Slide into the background. Work hard. Find the right head coach. Come up with what that identity is. Find those players and coach that fit that identity. And just roll out the team. And don't say we're going to win championships and don't put expectations on next season. Just let the process play out. And again, easier said than done. It is easier to say what I just said and give that advice to the Phoenix Suns than to actually follow through that advice. But it is the wise decision for the Suns to stay above the fray here, to not get involved with any of this. Because, one, nobody's going to believe you anything you say at this point anyway. They want to see it. Right? Matt Ishbia went up there, and what did we say? Wow, said all the right things, was a solid press conference from that regard, but we got to see it. I got to see it. I was supposed to see it last year. I was supposed to see it the year before that. I was supposed to be watching a team that was playing over the weekend in the NBA playoffs. That's what we all signed up for. That's what this was supposed to lead to. It didn't. So sorry if I have a bit of a trust issue with you, Matt Ishbia. Sorry if I have trust issues with you, the Phoenix Suns. And you know what doesn't fix that trust? You know what doesn't rebuild that relationship that you and I should have? Because I'll be honest, I didn't grow up here. I'm not from here. I've lived here for over a decade. If there is one franchise that I have embraced and I've left behind my roots of where I was, it is basketball. I didn't grow up in a Knicks household. I didn't grow up watching the New York Knicks. Basketball was not one of my favorite sports. I have grown since the 10 years of being here to really enjoy watching Devin Booker play and for embracing this team because it is the longest standing franchise here in this state and I understand its importance and I dove headfirst all in. Let's go. So I've got trust issues with this franchise. They are supposed to be my bridge into the game of basketball. That's what the last 10 years was supposed to be. Hasn't really been that other than one finals appearance. And so you've got to show it to me. You can't just tell me. Because you've told me a lot of things over the last 2.5 years. None of them have come through. None of them have come to fruition. Work hard in silence. Let your success be the noise. That is what I want the Phoenix Suns to. We talk about identity. I want that to be a part of their identity this summer.